What's going on? This is Jada Black. I am back with another video. I want to talk about Keri Hilson, man. And I want to talk about some of the comments she made following her last breakup. Because a lot of these women who are in the public eye, like her, get into these relationships and they fail. They fail. She just got out of a relationship. She broke up with her last boyfriend, Serge Ibaka, NBA player. And I'm reading through a couple of articles, and she talked about how she didn't want to date an athlete. She didn't want to date a rapper, an actor. But she ended up doing it anyway, like a lot of these women do. They say they don't want to date in the industry. And what do? They date in the industry. And their relationships just don't work out. Well, apparently now she's talking about wanting a regular guy, quote unquote, who treats her with respect, loves God, and who is loyal. You don't have to be a baller, just a nice guy. These women say this, I think, because they're on the rebound. When women are on the rebound, they'll say anything in order to gain sympathy, in order to make themselves look like the more decent person, because they want to make it seem like, I just didn't choose the right guy. She talked about how she thought Serge Ibaka was just so much more different. She thought that he would be an exception, and they started dating right around the time her last album came out in 2010. Now, I will say this about Keri Hilson. She was first a writer, then for a while she was an artist, and it hadn't really worked out. I mean, she came out with a hit or two when she first started making music on her own, but then she stopped after a while, because these women, for some reason, will put off everything. Jasmine Sullivan did the same thing. She put her whole career off just to be in a relationship. Keri Hilson did the same thing, but she was dating a guy who can financially support her. So it was easier. Do you really believe that if Keri Hilson was in a relationship with a regular guy who didn't make as much money as Serge Ibaka, she would put her whole career on hold just to be with him? Maybe, maybe not. But these women really do become obsessed with relationships, They become obsessed with these dudes. This is why I tell y'all, you need to start boycotting women with your attention and your money and see how much they'll change. She talked about how she didn't want a baller, but she ended up getting with a baller. And you were with him for a while. And now that you're broken up, now you want a regular guy. Why is that? Now, maybe there's a regular guy, if he's a billionaire, that she'll give an opportunity to. But for the most part, a lot of these women like Keri Hilson, she's going to continue to date men who don't really respect her, who don't really love her, and are not very religious. And another thing I notice is how religious these women are. He has to love God. I'm pretty sure a lot of these entertainers that these women date aren't the most religious, but they date them anyway. They have these criterias for men, but they don't feel like they should themselves be up to a certain standard. Should she have held off her career and to pursue love, to put her all into the relationship? Yeah, if you were dating a guy who had time for you, but she was dating a professional athlete, an NBA player at that. Those guys are on the road from the time training camp starts in October to, if they're in the playoffs, June of that next year or May of that next year. So they're going to be gone for a long time. They're going to be on the road unless you're traveling with him. Those relationships don't work unless the woman is 100% invested on being a housewife and seeing him part-time. Obviously, she wasn't able to do that. And obviously, she didn't trust this guy because she says she wanted somebody who treats her with treat her with respect and is loyal to her. And I guess she says that nice guys would do that for her. Gentlemen, when a woman says that she wants a nice guy, it's usually after the bad boys or the thugs have basically used them up, have basically not showing them any attention, not checking for them anymore, have cheated on them, lied to them, manipulated them to the point to where they have to psychologically change their thinking on their own. No matter how much advice you give a woman like Keri Hilson, she's only going to listen once it's been imprinted in her mind that the men that she's choosing aren't going to change. See, she's on the rebound, guys, which means that her next relationship, and according to these articles I'm looking at, she's already looking for another guy. Instead of taking her time and being single and working on her career, she's already looking for another relationship. That lets you know, man, these women only care about getting the attention of men. That's it. She basically tossed her career to the side because she was dating an NBA player. Not to say that she shouldn't, but you're putting all your eggs in a basket of a guy who has his pick of women. No matter where he goes, he's going to get attention from women. He's going to be tempted. So unless you're willing to be with the dude who you're going to share with other women, why even get into a relationship with him in the first place? That's because he's a baller. That's because he's getting attention from other women. And women only choose men who get the attention of other women. They don't want a guy who doesn't get a lot of attention from women, you know? Because they don't feel like he's desirable enough, you know? And they get with these guys like Serge Ibaka, and he cheats on them and doesn't respect them, and now all of a sudden they want a nice guy. You want a nice guy once you've been cheated on, lied to, or even abused, manipulated. Now you're older, you're not married, you're looking around, you're seeing all these other women who you're cool with, who are in long relationships and have gotten married, they have families. Now all of a sudden you want that. It was all cool when you was dating a baller. It was all cool when you would go to parties and you'd be on his arm. But now that y'all not together, now it's a problem. Now, it seems like the guy would fly in women to see him, would cheat on her regularly. There's a woman who's on social media putting him on blast. I'm telling you, women, the majority of women who are on social media nowadays, a lot of them ain't shit, man. They will do anything for attention, man. Because if they can't be in a loving relationship themselves, I'm not talking about Keri, but I'm talking about these other women who like putting men on blast. If they're not in a loving relationship, they're going to destroy other relationships. Not saying that this was a great, strong relationship, but women will go out of their way to destroy another relationship because they don't have one. But that's the catch-22 when you are pursuing men who are pro athletes, especially when they're young. You know, Serge Ibaka's not old. I mean, he's still in the prime of his career. So he's going to get attention to women and he's going to go for it. But you chose him. You got to take accountability for that. Not saying that Serge Ibaka is a perfect guy and he didn't make mistakes, but to always make it seem like if I just choose this guy, it'd be better if I choose that guy, without even looking yourself in the mirror and saying, you know what? I need to stop dating these types of men. I need to stop putting all my chips into this particular game or situation. I need to do right by me. And you have women who don't do that, no matter if they are entertainers themselves, no matter if they're IG models, Facebook models, no matter if they're just vloggers on YouTube. You have people who will literally be in the worst type of relationships because they love the drama. They love the back and forth. They love going through their boyfriend's phones. They love going through their social media, arguing with women, posting up pictures about how they together and y'all ain't gonna break them up. They love the drama. They will literally get with men who they know for damn sure cheating on them. And they will get with these guys and know this dude ain't shit. They will get with him. They'll have a kid with him. They will deal with all of his cheating and manipulating. And then they will rationalize it by saying it's the other woman's fault. And not even think once to say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be dating this asshole. But they will date him anyway because they love the drama. They get a kick out of it. Anything that is non-drama free, anything where there's no arguing and bickering, is boring for them. They think that a normal, happy, loving relationship with no outside entities are boring. All you have to do is look at Keri Hilson and the men that she's chosen to be with, and her all of a sudden want a nice guy who respects him, loves God, and who is loyal.